Hey there, guys. Let me see if I can get my embedded webcam to show up. For some reason, it has not been wanting to. There it is. Found it. Hello, guys. How are you? Welcome to our next assignment for our argument writing. So, for argument writing, we have been looking at our topic and our thesis and creating that. And I've given you feedback on all of those things, okay? So I've already given you feedback on your sources, on your topics and what you would like to write about so that you know if your topic looks good or you need to change up your thesis or whatever. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to find information that will back up our thesis, whatever your thesis is, because everybody's thesis is a little bit different and that's totally fine. So looking at what we're doing today, if you go in, you'll find a source, a page called 3 Credible Sources, and it'll give you a page that looks like this. So what this is asking you to do is use the credible source checklist, which we'll talk about in a second, to find 3 sources that you could use in your argumentative essay to back up your stance on your topic. Okay? So what this means is that you are going to find sources that we know we can believe, that we can trust and believe. Not a Wikipedia post, not a random blog post, but something concrete that we can really use. And that can be hard to determine, okay? It can be hard to figure out what is credible and what is not. So what I've done is I've given you a checklist to be able to go through to determine if something is credible. And we're going to go through that together. So let's say first thing it asks, what's your thesis? Whatever thesis you put on your other assignment, that's what you can put here. So let's say that I was doing bullying, okay? Bullying has a negative effect on students. That's my thesis. Let's say that's mine, right? So now I need to find some sources that prove that bullying has a negative effect on students, that bullying is something that is bad and we need to get rid of it. So what I would do is I would go to Google and I would say resources about bullying. And maybe I would even put like in Kentucky, right? Because we're in Kentucky. So a bunch of stuff comes up here, right? A little bit of everything. So what we need to figure out is which of these sources are actually ones that we care about, that we can look at and truly trust, okay? So I found a source, and I looked at this one earlier, so I wanted to look at it now, called Bullying and Harassment from the Kentucky Department of Education. So this looks pretty legit, just looking at it, right? From the Kentucky Department of Education, all that jazz. But we need to determine for sure if this is actually credible. So we're going to use this checklist. So this is the checklist for evaluating sources. And this is what we're going to look at to determine if something is actually credible or not. I just realized that's there, so I'm going to fix it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to determine these things. And you would put a check here if you like had a physical piece of paper in front of you. But you're going to look and you're going to see how many of these things it actually meets. After you go through all the questions, you're going to look down here and you're going to see how many total checks you actually had. How many out of 18 did you determine existed, right? If you got 13 to 18 check marks, it's good. That's great. It's a good one to go for. You can totally put that in and it'll be credible. If you had less than 13 check marks, it's probably not good. Okay? So this is a good way to be able to look through and determine what is actually best for you. So let's start with our Kentucky Department of Education page. Okay. So the first thing the checklist asks us to do is the name of the author, group, or editor responsible for creating the work clearly displayed. Well, we click over here and we immediately see Kentucky Department of Education. So yes, it is. We know what group wrote this. Okay? So boom. Yes, that one's good to go. So I can say I've got one check here. Can you find the link to the author's credentials to ensure that the author is not an anonymous entity or that the author is accountable for the media produced? So basically asking like, can we actually see who wrote this, right? Well, if we read through, we don't see it right away, but if we read through, we see, for more information, please contact Doug Roberts. And it has a link there that we can click and see more about Doug Roberts and how to reach him. Perfect. We now know that, yes, there is a link to the author's credentials. So boom, right there, check number 2. Is there evidence that the source went through a review process? So like a peer review or approved by an advisory board or some other means of quality control, right? Well, we see that it was published on 5/15/2020. It has some stuff about like regulations that's on there. Let's see. Other resources. Oh, look, here's more information about Doug Roberts to where we connect with him if we need to. So there is definitely some stuff on here that shows that this probably went through some extra information because it just has so many things on here that really show how well thought through it was. We don't have anything explicit, so I really wouldn't check that. It's not like it said updated or something like that. So I really wouldn't check it, but it's close. It's close enough, honestly, that I would be like, okay, yeah, this looks reviewed. This looks good. Can you find the name of the publisher or sponsoring organization? Again, Kentucky Department of Education. Easy. Done. Check mark. Is the publisher or organization reputable? Meaning, is it something that people would know? It's the Kentucky Department of Education. Like, it's the big almighty Department of Education here. Yes, that's a reputable source. That's one that everybody would know and we should trust to be able to give us good information. So yes. And then does the work appear to be carefully prepared? So like well written or designed, mostly free of errors, easily navigated? Absolutely. This is a clean and laid out piece that has a bunch of links and all types of stuff. So just right there, we can look at this and be like, wow, that's 6. 6 right there, ready to go. So then it goes into purpose. Can we find a mission statement or an explanation of why this was published? So bullying can come in a variety of forms. Quite frequently, when a child experiences bullying, parents and/or school personnel need assistance in identifying resources. The Kentucky Department of Education has provided information on this website to assist students, parents, or guardians, educators, and community members on the topics of bullying. That absolutely explains why this exists. So yes, 100%. That is our explanation of why it was published. Does it seem free of attempts to advertise or sell a product? Are there ads? Are there ads on here? Let's look. We got a picture. No ads. No ads whatsoever on this page. Boom. Done. Does the source aim to serve an educational purpose that presents informations and interpretations objectively? Meaning, is it for all sides of the argument? Is it something that is meant to be educational? Well, we just read that this is providing information, which means that it's supposed to be educational. So yes, absolutely. Does the work avoid offering an opinion or attempts to persuade? Does it attempt to be funny, or does it attempt to entertain? So these are 3 questions that we'd have to read through completely to do that. And looking at this is talking about public health emergencies. This is asking people to ensure that students or non-staff members that are subject to bullying or harassment concerning concerns about COVID-19. So this is stuff that's updated. This is resources on how to prevent bullying, how to get help. This is talking about an event at the White House that they went to reflect on the Obama's administration's ongoing effort to advance diversity and inclusion. It doesn't seem like this is meant to be funny or to entertain or anything like that. So it avoids doing those things. It doesn't want to do those things. So we can say yes to all 3 of these. Check, check, check. That's good that it's not trying to be funny or to entertain. It's trying to be serious and actually give serious information, right? So now we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 check marks. And we said we need 13 or more to know that this is a credible source, right? So really, we only need one more. We only need one more. But we're going to look through the last 6 of these just in case, just to make sure that we're good to go. Does the work document the sources of information that it presents? So does it have links to the other works or footnotes or bibliography at the bottom? Well, if we click right over, we see all these blue links, right? There's so many blue links here. Absolutely they do, which shows that this is a credible source right here. So yes, it does include the links to the works that it's presented. Then, sorry, my cat is trying to get into my rice cakes. Is the author or publisher's contact information clearly listed? We saw it at the bottom earlier. We saw it down here. We've got the phone number, fax number, and email. We know exactly how we can contact this guy to get more information. So absolutely, check. Does the source appear to be well-researched and factual? Can you follow the trail of information? So yeah, because we have all these links. Look at all these links all throughout the whole thing. There's links over here. There's links over here. Absolutely. We have a trail of information that we can follow that's well researched. So that's accuracy. Yeah, we got it. We know that this is credible at this point, but let's look at the last 3 just to make sure that we know. So the last 3 go into, does this source provide a date of publication? We saw it right up at the top. Published 5/15/2020 at 10:21 a.m. Boom. Done. Yes, it does. So we know that this is relevant because it was literally almost a year ago. That was it. Like a year ago. So this was updated with COVID-19, we now know, because we're looking at this COVID-19 stuff. So that's absolutely a date of publication. Does the date of publication suggest that the information is sufficiently current for the topic presented? Yeah, we just talked about COVID-19. We just saw that. Right here, harassment related to COVID-19. It's up to date. It's very good information. So yes. And then, are there any indication that the source has been influenced? So if we look at this, are there comments on, is it a comment that we're looking at, or is it the actual article? Has it been shared or discussed by others on this page? Here's the article itself. And we scroll down to the bottom, and it's just the information. So there's no comments or anything like that on here. Now, you could share this page to like a Facebook post, but it's not here right now, right? So we don't have to worry about it. It's not like we're trying to say that the Facebook post that somebody shared is the thing that we're citing. No, we're citing the information that's presented, and that's what's important. So, no, there is no indication that this source has been discussed by others in that way. Now, this is asking, because I just totally said this wrong, that the source has been influential. So basically, is this a source that people would go to? Any evidence of a source that people would go to? Admittedly, we don't have that because of exactly what we just said. We don't know that people are sharing this source and reviewing it or discussing it. We have no idea. So we can't check that one. But that being said, that means we have 17 out of 18, which means that it's absolutely reliable. So what I would do here is I would be like, okay, this is absolutely going to give me some good information. It's credible. Let's go. So I'm going to copy this link up at the top. Sorry for my dog, guys. I'm going to copy this link up at the top. And I'm going to come over here and be like, this is my first credible source. Let's put the link right here where it says first credible source. And that it turns blue to where I can click on it and see it. So then in 2 to 3 sentences, explain how can you support your thesis with the information that's on this webpage. Yeah, you know it's credible, but what are you going to use it for? How are you going to use this to show that bullying has a negative effect on students, right? So that would require reading it and actually just writing in whatever you perceive with your 2 or 3, with your source in 2 or 3 sentences, whatever it is that you would actually choose on that. So that's it. That's what you're looking for. You're going to do that 3 times. So you're going to find 3 credible sources. What I'm going to do to grade this is I will be grading basically, are your sources actually credible? The ones that you say they are. So did you use the checklist properly? And did you tell me how you're actually going to use it to back up for your information? Because what I'm going to make sure is that what you say supports your info actually supports your info, to where you don't go and use things that aren't actually going to help you, basically, is where I'm headed. So I don't want you to feel like you're, I don't want you to do all of this and then be like, oh crap, I got a bad grade on my sources because they weren't credible. Why didn't V tell me? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you that heads up just in case they aren't. So yeah, that's what you are doing. It is due on Tuesday of next week because we don't have school on Friday and we have parent-teacher conferences on Monday. So I went ahead and set it as due on Tuesday. So that would give you plenty of time to be able to get stuff done. If you have any questions, holler at me, send a private comment. I'm always available. But yeah, that's where we're at. Good luck, guys. Have fun.